Spoilers! Okay, Ant-Man's been out for quite a few days now, so let's finally talk some spoilers about the movie. And I'm sorry this video is so late, but it's been a pretty busy week for me. And that is an official spoiler warning. If you have not seen Ant-Man yet, you should probably not watch this video unless you just don't care. Alright, let's get started. So right out the gate, when the movie first starts, the very first shot we see is the Triskelion from Captain America the Winter Soldier, but it's 1989, so it's still in construction. I love that. Right off the bat, we're seeing how this movie ties into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It shows that Hank Pym was actually a scientist for S.H.I.E.L.D. He's talking with Howard Stark and Peggy Carter about his Ant-Man technology, and I'm sitting there like, wow, this is just interesting to see. And once again, Marvel is really good at making people look older. You remember in Winter Soldier the scene where Steve Rogers visited Peggy Carter? They made her look 90 years old. That was Haley Atwell playing her. Here, it's Haley Atwell again, and they made her look 68. That's just super impressive. Alright, let's jump forward in the movie. I said my favorite scene was a spoiler, so now I'm gonna talk about it. In order to pull off this big heist, Hank Pym needs a certain piece of tech that's being kept in a Stark warehouse somewhere in upstate New York. Only when Ant-Man gets there, this Stark warehouse, yeah, it ain't there anymore. It's that new Avengers school from the end of Age of Ultron. And not only do we get to see that, but we also have a little cameo from one of these new Avengers, Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. So Ant-Man has a little chat with the Falcon, and then they get into a fight, and that's my favorite scene in the movie. I was watching them fight, and I was like, I can't believe this is happening right now. I mean, talk about tying this movie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie does it flawlessly. We get to see more of Sam Wilson later in the movie, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. One of the things I was most curious about with this movie was Janet Van Dyne, because just like Hank Pym was the original Ant-Man, she was the original Wasp. And as it turned out, a while back they were working on a mission together. They were trying to stop this missile from hitting the US, and Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp, went subatomic in order to stop this missile. She sacrificed herself ultimately by going into this quantum realm where time and space and reality, they all mean nothing. And once you go subatomic, there's no going back. So she's gone is the bottom line. But it's good to know that Janet Van Dyne was at least mentioned in this movie. As for the Wasp, more on that later. So the villain Darren Cross's plan is ultimately to sell his Yellow Jacket technology to these representatives of Hydra, once again tying it into the MCU. Now I thought Hydra was gone because Ultron killed Strucker, who was Hydra's #1 thug. Well, actually most of Hydra's leaders were killed in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., then Strucker was killed in Age of Ultron. Point is, I thought Hydra was done, but I guess not, because it turns out Mitchell Carson from the beginning of this movie was a Hydra agent. It's really true, cut off one head and two more will take its place. So Darren Cross is going to sell his Yellow Jacket technology to Mitchell Carson and his goons. Another way for Hydra to take over the world, I guess. When will they learn? So Ant-Man and his crew pull off the heist and they get in there, and eventually we have the big fight between Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket. The fight between Ant-Man and Yellow Jacket was really cool. I loved it when they were in that briefcase and it was just falling. It lands in this one family's pool and they're like, what the hell? Then Yellow Jacket emerges from this pool and it's this awesome shot, and then they fight some more, and then Yellow Jacket gets caught in the bug zapper. I thought that was hilarious. But it turns out that the only way Ant-Man can take out Yellow Jacket is by going subatomic so he can disable the suit. And so he does, and you see Yellow Jacket just and you're like, oh, he's dead. But then Ant-Man gets lost in this subatomic realm and you're like, wow, this really is right out of a comic book. It kind of reminded me of Interstellar. He's floating around in this weird dimension. There are like kaleidoscope looking designs all over the place. But he hears his daughter calling for him and he remembers those enlarging discs that Hank gave him. So he uses one of those to grow big again and all is right in the world. Except now we have this giant Thomas the Tank Engine outside of the house and an ant the size of a dog running around. So now we're at the epilogue of the movie. Louise is talking with Scott about how Sam Wilson was talking with this one chick about how he wants Ant-Man to join the Avengers in one of those hilarious monologues that Michael Pena delivers in this movie. That's the part I was talking about where someone was talking really fast and it was kind of hard to pick up what he was saying. You hear him say, yeah, we got everyone now. We got someone who jumps, we got someone who swings, we got someone who climbs up the walls. I was like, wait, they're talking about Spider-Man! Alright, Tom Holland was recently cast as Spider-Man in the MCU, and I think it's great that we're actually now gonna have a teenager playing a teenager. I mean, I liked Andrew Garfield, but he was like 30 when The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, so I'm looking forward to seeing this new webhead in Civil War. And Ant-Man's going to join the Avengers now. Yay! Last but not least, we have the mid and post-credit scenes. In the mid-credit scene, we have Hank Pym taking his daughter somewhere and telling her how he and Janet were working on this new prototype suit for the Wasp, and it turns out they were really making it for her. And we get to see it, and it looks really cool. It's not yellow like I thought it might have been, but I still like it. And I had the same reaction that Hope had. It's about damn time. So yay, she is going to be the Wasp sometime down the line, maybe in Civil War. And in the post-credit scene, we have something a lot more interesting. Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson have actually gone and captured Bucky. They got him. For some reason, they can't call Tony Stark about this because of the Accords, so it seems like they're on their own about this. But maybe not. Sam knows a guy. That, of course, alludes to Ant-Man joining the crew for Civil War. In fact, this is actually a scene from the upcoming movie. Cool. So that's my spoiler talk for Ant-Man. I've seen the movie twice now. The first time was in 2D, and the second time was in 3D. And mark this was actually the first Marvel movie I've seen where the 3D was pretty good. I really noticed the depth of field. They did a really good job with it. So what was your favorite scene in Ant-Man? Whatever it is, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.